I've been working as a 911 operator for almost a decade, and I thought I had heard it all. Car wrecks, overdoses, shootings, domestic fights, children lost in the woods. Every scream, every plea, every choking gasp, all filtering through my headset in the middle of the night. I thought I had grown numb to it, like the walls of the call center themselves, stale and gray, washed by the constant hum of fluorescent lights. But last week, something happened that won't leave me alone. I've been replaying it every night when I close my eyes. I keep hearing the voice, and I can't shake the feeling that the line never really disconnected. It was early morning, just after 2:30 a.m. when the line blinked red. That line is reserved for high priority, the ones that usually mean someone is dying while you answer. I put down my cup of coffee and patched in. The only thing I heard was static. It wasn't the usual kind of static either. It sounded wet, like someone breathing through water. I said the script anyway. 911, what's your emergency? For a long stretch, nothing. Then I caught the sound of breathing, slow, broken, rattling, as though lungs were fighting to fill themselves. My skin crawled, because I've heard that kind of breathing before, the kind people make right before they code out. Then a voice broke through. So soft I thought it might have been in my own head. It was a child. He's in the house. I sat straighter, fingers flying across the keyboard as I tried to pin the call. The system should have locked on to a number and a location, but the screen stuttered, showing a blank field where the address should be. I asked questions. What's your name? Where are you? Are you alone? No answer, just soft crying. I could hear creaks in the background, wood straining under weight. Then the child whispered again, "He's in the walls." I froze. I repeated the question, and this time the crying grew louder, desperate, like the child had said too much. I dispatched officers to the signal coordinates, even though the map showed nothing but an empty stretch near the edge of town. I stayed on the line trying to calm the kid down, but then the voice changed. It wasn't the child anymore. It wasn't really a human voice at all. It was deep, broken, like it had been dragged backward through a tape machine. It said, "Do not send them." I jerked upright, my headset nearly slipping. I asked who was speaking. What came next was a scream, a child's scream, so piercing I ripped the headset away. When I put it back, there was silence. But the line was still open. Through the static, I could hear the officers checking in. Their radios echoed faintly in my ear. "Dispatch, we're at the coordinates, but there's nothing here." The sound didn't make sense because I wasn't on speaker, but their voices were bleeding through anyway. I told them to double-check the address. One of them swore, "This is a field, nothing's here, no house, no lights." And then, layered under their voices, I heard the child again, whispering right into my ear, "They can't see it. Only you can." My blood cold. I tried to steady my voice, asked the kid to describe the intruder, but there was only silence, and then that same rattling breath. My console flickered, as though the system itself was stuttering. The timer reset to 0, even though the call had been live for almost 15 minutes. I should have terminated, but something about that whisper held me there. I couldn't let go. I asked again where the child was. This time the reply came clear, steady, without a trace of fear. "In your building." My throat closed. I turned in my chair, scanning the rows of operators, the glow of monitors, the tired faces lit by screens. Everything looked normal. But then the power flickered. The overhead lights buzzed and cut for a split second. When they came back, everyone kept working like nothing happened. No one else seemed to notice, except me, because when the lights returned, the line was quiet. Until I heard breathing again, not from my headset, but from behind me. I spun around. Nothing. An empty aisle. My pulse thundered in my ears. Then the voice whispered broken and guttural, "Turn around again." I didn't. I couldn't. My console lit up. Instead, every single line blinking red at once. 17 incoming calls, all priority. I've never seen it happen, not in all my years. I answered the first, a woman screaming, begging for help, her words cut by sounds of tearing. The second, a man sobbing, saying, "Get it out, please, it's inside me." The third, nothing, a chewing, wet and deliberate. I switched between them frantically, but they all overlapped, voices bleeding together, a chorus of terror. And threaded through them all was that same faint whisper, "Operator, help me." My supervisor stormed over, snapping at me why I was bouncing between lines like a lunatic. I pointed to the console, the forest of blinking lights. She looked down and froze. For a second, I thought she saw it too. But then her face twisted into confusion, because on her monitor, nothing. No calls, no lights, no log of anything happening at all. Just me, staring at a screen alive with chaos that apparently didn't exist. They pulled me off the floor, said I needed rest, that maybe the long nights were messing with my head. I tried to explain, but the more I did, the more their faces hardened. One of them muttered about medical leave, psychological evals. They sent me home. But I couldn't let it go. That night, I logged into the system remotely, something I wasn't supposed to do. The call log showed only one entry from that night, 2:37 a.m., duration 00000. That was impossible. I clicked on it anyway. At first, there was nothing. Then, faint, just for a second, a whisper. The child's voice. "Stop writing this down. He knows you're telling them." I slammed the laptop shut. My heart wouldn't slow down. I told myself it was some leftover recording, corrupted data. But then my headset, which was unplugged on my desk, clicked softly, the way it does when a call connects. I froze. The breathing came again, slow and wet, filling the room around me. I can't sleep anymore. Every night since, I hear a child's whisper in the walls of my apartment. Sometimes it says my name. Sometimes it just breathes. And sometimes, when I'm about to drift off, it says the words that make my blood turn to ice. "We never hung up." I think the call is still live. I think it's always been live. And I don't know how much longer I can stay on the line.